Went down to the caves to actually check it out here in Puerto Rico, what we found was rather astonishing. Because upon closer look and examination, start to see that each continent is connected through a common language or through common characters or paleo writings or groups of writings that we find on each island. When you go down this cave, which is connected to the ocean basically, you're going to find a lot of these writings. They're going to match up with the paleo. It's absolutely wild when I started to compare a lot of these writings. They were absolutely like identical to the paleo. Not the modern day Hebrew, but the original Hebrew. A whole bunch of crosses, tavs, a whole bunch of shins. Even see the character hey, where a man is holding his hands up. It's a character of a man. I could see why they don't want people to actually know their own history, why they wouldn't want Puerto Ricans to know that they are Hebrews. Now remember, can a nation be built in a day, my friends? No, it cannot. Neither were you guys. Information, your history didn't start in 1492. Information has been around since basically almost the beginning of time. This place is so historic. That's the letter hey that I was talking about earlier. But there's so much here in the island or on the island of Puerto Rico. Studying the history of the islands worldwide helps to connect every continent, every tribe.
This Hosea 1 and 10. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, Ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, Ye are the sons of the living God. Kahala Yahweh B'Shem Yashai B'Shem Rakodash, which are the true Hebrew names of the Most High Father, Yahweh, which is Hebrew for He is, and His only begotten Son's name, Yahweh Shai, which is Hebrew for He is salvation, He delivers. Double honors to my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, who are the house of David reborn again in this generation. And shalom to the 130 Yashayah-LA, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who before losing our true heritage, we were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. Shalom. In today's lesson, we're going to get into the tribe of Ephraim and how they today are known as the so-called Puerto Ricans. Okay, in the video we just watched, you seen that man going down into the sea caves on the island of Puerto Rico, and what he seen was carvings made by the, at that time referred to as the Taino Indians, right? But really they were of the tribe of Ephraim, right? They were Ephraimites, and on that island they made, carvings, and they wrote in the original Paleo Hebrew. And why is that? Well, that's because these were the Israelites, or should I say one of the 10 tribes that came over here to the Americas. You see, Ephraim is only one of the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay, Ephraim would be the top tribe of the Northern Kingdom. The Northern Kingdom making up the Latinos and the Native American Indians, and the Southern Kingdom would be the so-called Negroes of the nation of Israel. Okay, now in that video we watched, that man pointed out carvings that prove that the Taino Indians, or the tribe of Ephraim, that they did actually write in Paleo Hebrew, right, or just the original Hebrew. Okay, after the Northern Kingdom went into captivity under the Assyrian, captivity, the Assyrians basically took away everything from the Northern Kingdom, right? They took away the land. They settled the Kuthians, which were basically Iranian or Persians in that land. They also, rewrote our language, right? They took their writing systems or their letters, and they basically assigned that to our alphabet. And that's because, again, we were under their captivity, so hence they dictated, what we would write and, how we would spell it. And that's where the modern Hebrew comes from. Now, it was really just the northern kingdom that would write this, but really it was just the people around there. The southern kingdom of Israel, the so-called Negroes that stayed in the land of Jerusalem, they never really used this this language or this alphabet, right? They a lot used this or the Paleo-Hebrew, or they would write in Greek. But also just because, again, since the Babylonians, the Assyrians, and the majority of the more prominent nations around there would write Hebrew in the Assyrian or the Aramaic Hebrew, this was a dominant language in that time. So many learned Israelites, even of the southern kingdom, would write in this, right? So when people say that Yahweh spoke Aramaic, this is what they're talking about. But again, originally, this here, the Paleo-Hebrew, is the original Hebrew that Moses and the patriarchs, and Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, that they would write in. Okay. Now, that being said, back to the tribe of Ephraim. Now, like I said, the tribe of Ephraim is today known as the so-called Puerto Ricans. Okay, and we have many things that prove this, right? In fact, there's an encounter that you can read about in the book called The Lost Tribes and the Promised Lands by Ronald Sanders, that was written in 1978, where he highlighted some of the testimonies of the missionaries that were, on the land of Puerto Rico, and basically, discovering what was going on. And actually, I'm sorry, not in Puerto Rico. They were right there on the Mexican coast, right? And we're actually, let's read it, right? This right here is a testimony of the encounter that some of these missionaries had with some of the Native American Indians, right? Basically, the tribe of Reuben, I believe, or no, the tribe of Reuben, and the tribe of Reuben tells them where the tribe of Ephraim is at, right? Let's read it. Now it says, upon hearing her words, right? Her is talking about the missionaries had a woman Israelite translator, okay, that they were exploring the lands with. So she had called out to them, right? And then these Israelites, it's talking about them. It says, upon hearing her words, they rose, went over to Montesinos. Montesinos is the missionary friar, and to his utter astonishment said, Shammai, Yasharal, Yahweh, Alahayanawa, Yahweh Echad, which is, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. They had recited in Hebrew the fundamental credo of the Israelites. A brief conversation then ensued in their common ancestral tongue. According to Montesinos, whose fluency in it is almost as perplexing to the reader of his narrative as is that of his three mysterious new companions. They told him that they were themselves of the tribe of Reuben, and that the tribe of Joseph lived on an island nearby. The tribe of Joseph is basically the tribe of Ephraim, okay? And also it could be the tribe of Manasseh, since Ephraim and Manasseh were Joseph's children. And we know that, again, through prophecy, that the tribe of Manasseh today are the so-called Cubans, who are also on an island right next to Puerto Rico. So that being said, so that right there is historic accounts of the tribe of Ephraim, being there on those islands right there in the Bahamas. Now, future prophecy that Moses gave to the tribe of Ephraim basically also prophesied that Ephraim would ultimately lead the Israelites over here to the new lands, to the Americas. Right? Let's go and read it. This is Deuteronomy 33 and 16. This is when Moses knew he was going to pass away, so he started to bless the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay, and this is what he wrote about Ephraim. Verse 16, he says, and for the precious things of the earth and fullness thereof, and for the good will of him that dwelt in the bush, let the blessing come upon the hand of Joseph, upon the head of Joseph, and upon the top of the head of him that was separated from his brethren. His glory is like the firstlings of his bullock, and his horns like the horns of unicorns. With them he shall push the people together to the ends of the earth. And they are the 10,000 of Ephraim, and they are the thousands of Manasseh. So you see right here, ultimately he's prophesying how Ephraim would eventually become a great nation, right? In fact, that's what the horns represent, right? And basically saying how his horns are like the unicorns, basically meaning that they're very strong horns, and horns represents power, okay? And the firstlings of the bullocks basically means that he would be like the head tribe, right? Now we understand in history, when we go to the Bible timeline, let's go and bring it up. After the Israelites were established as a kingdom, and you had King Solomon, right, who was of the southern kingdom, he had came in around 989 BC to 931 BC. He had built a temple, but after he had passed away, because of the curses that came upon him because of what of his great sin, the Lord ultimately split up the nation. Right now, ultimately, it was also the sin of David, right, that caused this, that to have the nation split up. Now, eventually, the northern kingdom ended up being ruled by Jeroboam, who was King David, one of King David's mighty men, right, or his bodyguards. And then the southern kingdom went to King Solomon's son, Rehoboam. Now, Ephraim, like I said, the tribe of Ephraim eventually would go on to produce many kings that ruled the northern kingdom, along with the tribe of Issachar, along with the tribe of Gad. But unfortunately, the sucky thing is that none of the northern kingdom kings were good. They were all wicked, right? They all, for the most part, went off. Now, that being said, Ephraim was prophesied to be the head of one of the heads of Israel. And not only that, but like it says here, right, that he would push the people together to the ends of the earth. This basically refers to the future prophecy that how the 10 tribes of Israel, the northern kingdom, would eventually leave the old world, the eastern hemisphere, right there where Israel's at, and come over here to the western hemisphere, the new world, right? Or, as it tells you here, to the ends of the earth. Okay? And let's go and read about that right here, right? Because right here, you're seeing this blue line represents where the northern kingdoms went, right? And it says, this is 2nd Ezra 13 and 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoner out of their own land in the time of Hoshea, the king, whom Salamansar, the king of Assyria, led away captive. And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. And now right there is talking about how eventually when the northern kingdom fell to the Assyrian Empire, they got taken over the rivers, and they basically dwelt in the land of Assyria, which is for the most part, it's like right in this area right here. Okay, and this is where we get the books of like Tobit, where he's over here in the land of Persia or Iran. You also get the books of like Susanna, I think Susanna and Esther, right? Esther being married to a king in Persia, I believe. The point being is that this is referring to the time when the northern kingdom had basically been settled in the lands of the Assyrians, because the Assyrian kingdom, they had a thing about when they would conquer people, they would pull all the captives out of that land, and they would basically send them to other parts of the kingdom that they ruled, and then they would bring other heathens into the land to basically settle that land, so that way people wouldn't go back and basically reclaim their heritage or their land. Basically, they like to mix everybody within their kingdoms, and that's ultimately what happened to the northern kingdom, right? We were spread around the Assyrian Empire. Now that happened for about 100 years until the Babylonians came and conquered the Assyrians. This is where you hear about the fall of Nineveh, right? That's when that happened. And when that took place, the Northern Kingdom, for the most part, a lot of them had already, won their freedom. They either had came up in the society, or for the most part, they were de facto free, because the Assyrians fell and the Babylonians were, they basically just took over the kingdom. And at that point, let's go ahead and read what the Northern Kingdom decided to do. So verse 41, but they took this counsel amongst themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river, right? That's right here. And it says, for the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the floods till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, nearly of a year and a half. And the same region is called Azareth. Azareth in the Hebrew basically means another land. And when you get into Bible scholarship or Bible, scholars, they know that Azareth is talking about the Americas. Okay, that being said, you have a whole religion based off of the Native Indians and Native Americans being Israelites, and that would be the Mormon religion, right? Because they understand that the Latinos and Native Americans, they understand that we are those 10 tribes that had gone away, right, during the 600 expulsion. Okay, well, that being said, the video we just watched is proof that the Puerto Ricans are in fact Hebrew Israelites, right? And we're telling you through prophecy they are the tribe of Ephraim. But see, what happened is that information was lost. Okay, and this is prophecy that information was lost, right? This is Jeremiah 17:4. And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. So the Most High, in his punishment of us Israelites, he decided to remove from us our heritage, so that way we would basically be cast into the four corners of the earth, and we would have to serve our enemies. Now, this ultimately was tough love, right? The Lord did this, right? He said he sold us to the nations, not to destroy us, but because, again, we went off, and ultimately this is the way that the Lord corrected us. And now in this time, starting all the way back since the 50s, when the Lord brought back Elijah, right, John the Baptist, we know him as Abba Bivens, that right there was the Lord basically reaching back out to us and waking us back up, right, giving us the breath of life, which is the true knowledge of what the Bible is actually talking about. And it was revealed onto us that the Bible wasn't a book of religion, but a book of our ancient heritage, right, that we ultimately lost because this prophecy said that heritage would be taken away from us, and that would then facilitate the great falling away that had to come, right? And that falling away ultimately led the Northern Kingdom and the Southern Kingdom to fall into the same fate, which is ultimately, being conquered, devoured by the nations, and ultimately losing our heritage. And right here, you could see how the Northern Kingdom were basically, conquered, tortured, and enslaved, right? There's even modern examples in this. But that being said, this is how the Northern Kingdom, including the Puerto Ricans, lost the fact that they were the Hebrew Israelites. Now again, this is something that was known in small circles. But again, to know this information, it would have had to have been, given to them by the Lord. But again, the Lord, knowing that we had to lose our heritage, this was preserved in small, examples and things like this, right? Little testimonies that would be tucked away for hundreds of years until now that it's all coming out, now that the internet, like the apostles say, are doing the heavy lifting for us, it's now coming out, and you have brothers like me that make infographics like this that highlight, little tidbits like this that, carry heavy weight with it. Okay, and that could be shared with you, and for you then to share with other Akim out there, family members, our people, so that way we can wake our people up and let them know that we are the Israelites, right? And what is that going to do? That's going to fulfill another prophecy, right? This is Baruch 2:30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people, but in the land of their captivities they shall remember themselves. And that's what's going on, Akim. Right now, the Lord is bringing out a lot of beautiful information, a lot of testimonies, a lot of examples that prove that the Negro, Latino, Native American, that we are in fact the true biblical Israelites. Now, also remember, there's going to be Israelites that are coming out of every one of the other nations upon the face of the earth, like it tells us in Revelation 7. Okay, that there's going to be Israelites coming out of every nation. But predominantly, because of the prophecies and how we've all managed to stick together like most nations do, you're going to find the Israelites amongst the Negro, Latino, Native Americans. So hopefully this video was edifying. Until next time, I want to give all honor and glory and praises to Yahweh B'Hashem Yashai B'Hashem Rakal Kodash. Shalom.